The rain started at 3:47 p.m., which was exactly when I hit send on the email that would destroy my carefully constructed life. I watched the message disappear from my draft folder, watched it whoosh into the digital void with that cheerful little animation that felt like mockery now, and then I sat very still in my ergonomic office chair while my heart tried to claw its way out of my chest. Subject line: Thoughts I Can Never Say. Recipient: Jordan Blake, CEO. The woman I'd been in love with for 3 years, 2 months, and 16 days. The woman who signed my paychecks. The woman who had no idea I existed beyond my employee ID number and my quarterly performance reviews. My hands were shaking. Actually shaking, like in movies, like I thought was just dramatic license until this moment when I could see my fingers trembling against the dark wood of my desk. I'd written that email 6 months ago, during one of those late nights when the office was empty and the city lights below made everything feel possible and distant at the same time. I'd poured everything into it. Every stolen glance across the conference room. Every time her laugh had lit something up inside my chest. Every moment I'd watched her push her hair behind her ear while she was thinking, that tiny gesture that seemed to contain entire universes. I'd written about how she looked when she was concentrating on a problem, the little line that appeared between her eyebrows. How her voice changed when she talked about the company's mission, went soft with something that looked like hope. How I'd memorized the exact shade of her eyes, that impossible gray-green that changed with her mood and the light. It was supposed to stay in my drafts folder forever. A confession to the void. A way to get the feelings out so I could function like a normal person instead of this hollow, aching thing I'd become. Except I'd been working on the quarterly report. And I'd been tired. And I'd clicked the wrong email. And now Jordan Blake knew everything. I stood up so fast my chair rolled backward and hit the wall. The sound made 2 people look up from their cubicles, but I was already grabbing my bag, my coat, moving toward the elevator with my vision tunneling. I had to leave. Had to get out before she read it, before she called security or HR or whatever protocol existed for when an employee sent their CEO a multi-page love letter disguised as an email. The elevator took forever. I watched the numbers descend with agonizing slowness while my phone stayed silent in my pocket. Maybe she hadn't seen it yet. Maybe I could hack into the email server, delete it somehow, pretend this had never happened. The lobby was full of people leaving early because of the storm, and I pushed through them into the rain without opening my umbrella, without caring that I was getting soaked. My apartment was 40 minutes away by train. I could make it. I could pack a bag, get on a plane, move to another city, change my name, start over. People did that, right? Disappeared and became someone else? My phone buzzed when I was halfway to the station. I pulled it out with shaking hands, rain streaming down my face, blurring the screen. Email notification. Jordan Blake. Subject line: Thoughts I Can Never Say. I stopped walking. Someone bumped into me, swore, kept going. I stood in the middle of the sidewalk while rain soaked through my coat, while people flowed around me like water around a stone, and I stared at that notification. I couldn't open it. Couldn't face whatever was in there. Formal termination notice? Concern for my mental health? Polite, distant acknowledgement that this was inappropriate and would be dealt with through proper channels? I shoved my phone back in my pocket and kept walking. I'd read it later. Or never. Maybe never was better. My apartment building came into view through the rain, and I'd never been so grateful to see those familiar brick walls. I fumbled with my keys, got inside, climbed the 3 flights to my door. My hands were still shaking. Everything was shaking. I felt like I might fly apart, like all the pieces of me that I'd held together so carefully for so long were finally coming undone. I got my door open. Stepped inside. Started to close it. Samantha. I froze. That voice. I knew that voice. I heard it in my dreams, in my waking fantasies, in every quiet moment when my guard was down. I turned slowly, so slowly, and Jordan Blake was standing in my hallway, soaked through just like me, her dark hair plastered to her face, her gray-green eyes fixed on mine with an intensity that made my knees weak. How did you? I couldn't finish the sentence. Couldn't think. She was here. In my building. Outside my apartment. Employee records have your address, she said, and her voice was rough, breathless, like she'd been running. I left right after I read it. I drove. I know I shouldn't have. I know this is probably crossing every professional boundary that exists, but she stopped. Took a breath. Can I come in? I stepped back without meaning to, automatic, and she moved into my apartment, into my space, bringing the smell of rain and her perfume, that subtle scent I'd noticed 1,000 times and never let myself acknowledge. I closed the door. We stood there, dripping on my hardwood floor, and I couldn't look at her. Couldn't breathe. I'm sorry, I managed. I didn't mean to send it. It was an accident. I'll resign. I'll make this easy. I'm sorry. Samantha, look at me. I couldn't. If I looked at her, I'd fall apart completely. I'd already humiliated myself enough for one lifetime. Please. Something in her voice made me raise my eyes. She was closer than I'd realized, close enough that I could see water droplets caught in her eyelashes, could see the way her chest was rising and falling with quick breaths. Her hands were trembling too. I'd never seen Jordan Blake anything but perfectly composed, but right now she looked wrecked, undone, raw. I keep a file, she said quietly. On my personal laptop. I started it 2 years ago. It's full of reasons I need to maintain professional distance. Reasons I can't let myself feel what I feel. Your name is in there 417 times. The world tilted. I reached back, found the wall, pressed my palm against it to stay upright. What? Do you know how many times I've rewritten emails to you? Her voice was shaking now. How many times I've deleted sentences because they were too personal, too warm, too honest. Do you know how many excuses I've made to walk past your desk? I know your coffee order. I know you twist your hair when you're thinking. I know you stay late on Thursdays because that's when the office is quietest. I know, she broke off, closed her eyes. I thought I was going crazy. Thought I was being inappropriate, abusing my position, feeling things I had no right to feel. Jordan. I read your email 3 times, she said, opening her eyes, and they were so bright, so intense. And the 4th time I was already in my car. I didn't think. I just drove. Because I've spent 2 years telling myself this couldn't happen, that it was impossible, that you were off limits for 1,000 reasons, and then I read your words and I realized, God Sam, I realized you'd been feeling the same thing. This whole time. I was crying. I didn't remember starting, but tears were mixing with the rain on my face, and I couldn't speak, couldn't do anything but stare at her while my heart threatened to explode. Tell me I'm not imagining this, she whispered. Tell me I didn't read that wrong. Tell me. I kissed her. I'd never kissed anyone like that before, desperate and terrified and so full of hope it hurt. She made a sound against my mouth, surprise and relief and something that sounded like my name, and then her hands were in my hair and she was kissing me back like I was air and she'd been drowning. We were both soaked, both shaking, both probably destroying my hardwood floor, and I didn't care. Nothing mattered except the feeling of her mouth on mine, the way she was holding me like I might disappear, the small broken sound she was making that told me this was real, this was happening, this wasn't some fever dream brought on by panic. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Her forehead rested against mine, her hands still tangled in my hair, and I could feel her trembling. We need to talk about this, she said softly. About how this works. The company, the optics, the... I know, I whispered. I know. I don't want to mess this up. Her eyes met mine, and they were full of fear and hope and something that looked like wonder. I've wanted this for so long. Wanted you. I need to do this right. Okay, I managed. Okay. We'll figure it out. I should probably go, she said, but she didn't move. Neither of us moved. I should go home, change, think about this rationally. Probably. Samantha. Yeah. I don't want to go. I kissed her again, softer this time, and felt her smile against my mouth. We had so much to figure out. So many complications waiting for us. But right now, in this moment, with rain still dripping from our clothes and her hands warm against my face, none of it seemed to matter. We'd been hiding for so long. Maybe it was time to stop. 3 months later, I was still getting used to it. The way Jordan, because she was Jordan now, not Ms. Blake, not CEO, just Jordan, looked at me across the conference table with that small private smile that was just for me. The way she'd restructured the department so I reported to someone else, eliminating any direct conflict of interest. The way she'd held my hand in the meeting where we told the executive board about our relationship, her thumb tracing small circles against my palm while she calmly explained the steps we'd taken to ensure everything remained ethical and professional. The office had handled it better than I'd expected. There'd been gossip, obviously. Speculation. But Jordan had been CEO for 8 years, had built the company from nothing, and she'd earned enough respect that most people were willing to give us the benefit of the doubt. Plus, as my friend Maya had pointed out while we were getting coffee, you two have been making eyes at each other for years. Everyone saw this coming except apparently you. I was at my new desk, same floor, different apartment, reporting to Patricia instead of Jordan, when my phone buzzed with a text. Dinner tonight? My place. I'm cooking. I smiled at the screen. Jordan's cooking was enthusiastic but unreliable, which meant we'd probably end up ordering takeout at some point during the evening. But I loved that she kept trying. Loved the domesticity of it, the quiet evenings in her apartment where we could just be ourselves without the weight of professional distance. What time? I typed back. 7. Come earlier if you want. I miss you. My chest did that warm expanding thing it had been doing for 3 months now. You saw me 4 hours ago. I know. Still miss you. Is that pathetic? Extremely. See you at 6:30. I could picture her smile. The way she'd duck her head slightly, pleased. The way her eyes would get that soft look that still made my breath catch. The afternoon crawled by. I tried to focus on the market analysis I was supposed to be reviewing, but my attention kept drifting to the clock, to my phone, to the memory of Jordan's mouth on mine that morning before we'd left for work. We'd been careful. No one at the office knew we'd been living together for the past 6 weeks. We arrived separately, left separately, maintained professional distance during work hours. But the moment we got home, her home, our home now, everything changed. At 6:15, I packed up my things and headed out. The early summer evening was warm, the streets full of people enjoying the weather, and I walked the 20 minutes to Jordan's building with a lightness in my chest that still felt new. Still felt like something I might wake up from. I let myself in with my key, another new thing, the key, the casual intimacy of having access to her space, and found her in the kitchen, surrounded by what looked like the aftermath of a culinary explosion. There were pots on every burner, vegetables scattered across the cutting board, and Jordan herself had flour in her hair and a look of intense concentration on her face. Don't say anything, she warned, glancing up at me. I'm making pasta from scratch and it's going fine. I wasn't going to say anything, I lied, moving to kiss her hello. She tasted like the wine she'd been cooking with, and I felt her relax into me, stress melting away. Liar, she murmured against my mouth. You were absolutely going to comment on the state of this kitchen. I would never. You were thinking it very loudly. I laughed, and she pulled back to look at me, her expression softening. This was my favorite version of her. Not CEO Jordan Blake, polished and professional and slightly untouchable. Just Jordan, with flour in her hair and sauce on her shirt and eyes full of warmth. How was your day? She asked, turning back to the stove. Long, boring. Patricia wants me to completely redo the demographics section of the report. Patricia's thorough. It's why I put you in her department. I know. She's great. Just, very thorough. Jordan smiled, stirring something that smelled amazing. You can say it. You can tell me you miss working directly with me. I miss working directly with you, I admitted. But I also like this. Like having you separate from work. Like coming home to you instead of just seeing you across a desk. She set down her spoon and turned to face me fully, reaching out to tuck a strand of hair behind my ear. That gesture. The one I'd watched her do to herself 1,000 times before I knew what it meant. I like coming home to you too, she said softly. I never thought I'd get to have this. Have you? You wrote my name 417 times, I reminded her. You clearly thought about it. Thinking about it and believing it could happen are different things. Her thumb traced my cheekbone, gentle. You were so far out of reach. I was your boss. I was 13 years older. I wouldn't let myself imagine. I'm not out of reach now. No, she agreed, and kissed me slowly, thoroughly, until I forgot about pasta and demographics reports and everything except the feeling of her mouth on mine. You're definitely not. We ate at her kitchen island, The pasta was actually good surprisingly, though we supplemented it with salad and bread because Jordan's portion control was optimistic at best. She told me about her day, about the investor meeting that had run long, about the new hire she was excited about. I told her about Maya's latest dating disaster, about the book I'd started reading on the train. Normal things. Comfortable things. The kind of easy domestic conversation I'd fantasized about during those 2 years of longing. After dinner, we moved to the couch with wine, and Jordan pulled me against her side, her fingers playing absently with my hair. The TV was on, but neither of us was really watching. I was focused on the steady rhythm of her breathing, the warmth of her body against mine, the casual intimacy that still felt like a gift. "I have to go to San Francisco next week," she said eventually. 3 days. Board meeting and some investor presentations. Okay. I tried to keep my voice neutral. 3 days wasn't long. We'd been apart for longer when I'd visited my parents last month. But I'd gotten used to this. Used to her. "Come with me," she said, and I pulled back to look at her. "What?" "Come to San Francisco. Not for the meetings, I know you can't take that much time off work. But fly out Thursday evening, spend the weekend. We could actually be together in public. Go to restaurants. Walk around the city. Not hide." My heart was pounding. "Jordan, we agreed." I know what we agreed. Low profile for the first 6 months. Let the office gossip die down. But Sam, I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of pretending we're just colleagues when we're at company events. She stopped, took a breath. "I want to hold your hand in public. I want to introduce you as my girlfriend, not my employee. I want to stop compartmentalizing my life like this." The optics. I know. I've thought about the optics. But I've also thought about spending the next few years pretending this isn't the most important thing in my life, and I can't do it. I won't do it. Her eyes were intense, fierce. "You're not a secret I'm ashamed of. You're the person I love. And I want the world to know that. The person I love." She'd said it casually, like it was established fact, but this was the first time. The first time either of us had used that word. I felt tears prick my eyes. "You love me," I said, and it came out smaller than I meant it to. Jordan's expression shifted, went soft and tender. "Of course I love you. Sam, I've loved you since you stayed late to help me with that presentation 2 years ago and brought me coffee at midnight without being asked. I've loved you since you defended my decision in that meeting when half the board was questioning it. I've loved you since, God, since always. I just couldn't say it." "I love you too," I whispered. "So much it scares me sometimes." She kissed me then, slow and sweet and full of promise. When we broke apart, she was smiling. "So? San Francisco." "San Francisco," I agreed. "But I'm booking my own hotel room. 4 appearances. Book whatever you want. You're not going to use it." She was right. I didn't use it. We spent that weekend in San Francisco walking through Golden Gate Park hand in hand, eating overpriced seafood at tourist restaurants, kissing on a bench overlooking the bay like teenagers. Jordan introduced me to her investors as her partner, not specifying what kind, and I watched her navigate their curiosity with the same calm confidence she brought to everything. We were careful, still. Professional during business hours. But the moments in between, the early mornings and late nights, those were ours. The flight home Sunday evening was quiet. Jordan had her laptop out, reviewing notes for Monday's meetings, and I was reading. But her free hand was laced through mine on the armrest, and occasionally she'd squeeze my fingers or glance over with a smile. Small things. Easy things. The kind of casual affection that meant everything. "Thank you," she said as we were descending into the city, the skyline spreading out below us in the dusk. "For coming with me. For being willing to stop hiding." "Thank you for wanting to stop hiding," I replied. "For thinking I'm worth the complications." "Sam." She waited until I looked at her. "You're worth everything." Monday morning, we arrived at the office together for the first time. Jordan's hand was on the small of my back as we walked through the lobby, a touch that could have been professional but wasn't, not really. People noticed. I could feel the looks, the whispers. But Jordan just smiled and guided me into the elevator, and when the doors closed and we were alone, she kissed my temple softly. You okay? She asked. Terrified, I admitted. But yeah, I'm okay. We can still go back to the old way. If this is too much. No. I surprised myself with how firm my voice was. No, I don't want to go back. I want this. I want you. I want to stop pretending. Her smile was radiant. Good. Because I already sent an email to the executive team this morning, letting them know we're together. Officially. Jordan. Too late now, she said cheerfully, and kissed me again just as the elevator doors opened on our floor. Maya was waiting by my desk with coffee and an enormous grin. So, she said as Jordan headed to her office with a little wave. That happened. Apparently, I said, taking the coffee gratefully. You're disgustingly happy. It's adorable and also kind of annoying. I know. She's good for you. You're good for her. Everyone can see it. Maya paused. Well, everyone except you two for the past 3 years, but better late than never. I laughed. It felt good. Easy. Like maybe this could actually work. Like maybe we didn't have to choose between our careers and our relationship. Like maybe, for once, we could have both. The weeks that followed weren't perfect. There were awkward moments, uncomfortable conversations, HR meetings to establish protocols. Jordan's ex-wife called, concerned about the age gap and the power dynamics, and Jordan spent 2 hours on the phone reassuring her that this was real, that this was right. My parents were skeptical when I told them, worried I was being taken advantage of, and it took a visit home and dinner with Jordan for them to see what I saw. But through it all, we had each other. We had quiet mornings making coffee in Jordan's kitchen. We had late nights on the couch, my head in her lap while she worked and played with my hair. We had stolen kisses in the office when we thought no one was looking, and date nights at restaurants where we didn't have to pretend to be just colleagues. We had Sunday afternoons in bookstores, and Saturday mornings in bed, and all the small ordinary moments that made up a life together. 6 months after that rainy day when I'd accidentally sent the email that changed everything, Jordan pulled me aside after a company event. We were the last ones there, helping the caterers clean up, and she had that look on her face. The one that meant she'd been thinking about something important. Move in with me, she said. Officially. Not just staying over most nights. Actually move in. Bring your stuff. Make it our space, not just mine. I'd been expecting this. Had been thinking about it myself. But hearing her say it still made my heart race. Are you sure? It's fast. People will talk. Let them talk. She took my hands. Sam, I've wasted enough time worrying about what people think. I love you. I want to build a life with you. And that starts with sharing a home. Okay, I said, and watched her face light up. Yes. Let's do it.